Hey, what is up, everyone? So, on a recent live stream I did where I was talking about the new Smuggler's Tide Season 17 announcement trailer and we were breaking that down, I had one viewer that was chatting about saying that basically Xbox and Microsoft are holding Sea of Thieves back, and the reason why this Season 17 Smuggler's Tide update felt so underwhelming and lackluster was because of Xbox. I disagreed with that point, but I thought it turned into a pretty interesting discussion. So for this video, I just wanted to kind of show y'all that conversation. I kind of cut it up and edited it a little bit so that it was a little bit easier to follow. But let's go ahead and get into this video. Dave said it's a bit early to be doing a breakdown for the trailer. It's just CGI, it's not really gameplay. I mean, I kind of already addressed this. I think Sea of Thieves probably shouldn't have put this trailer out so soon when the update's not coming out till August, but if it's Sea of Thieves news and something as big as, what's coming out for a new season, I'm going to talk about it probably like every other Sea of Thieves creator, so I don't really see a reason why we wouldn't do a breakdown of it. And I think, obviously, a trailer like this would make sense to break down, so even if it's CGI, like I was saying earlier, even though this is CGI, we can gather like what this is representing to us. Wizard said, true, this is a good expansion on Season 14, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I think this is an expansion on Season 14. The only critique I think we could say, if you were, talking about your previous comment about, half-baked updates, this might have been a better reception if this came with Season 14. If this was, like, kind of combined with what we got with those new tools added in Season 14 as, like, one bigger update, then people would be a lot more excited about this, I think. But I think when you have these kind of spread out a little bit more, it makes it a little bit harder. Like, imagine if we had Season 13 last year with, the Burning Blade and Scouting Camps, and then we also got, the new additions with the Reaper stuff this time, too. Dave also it was put out to please Xbox, not for the fans, be real. And, I mean, it's still new Sea of Thieves news that we're going to talk about. I don't think I'm being unfair about this. I'm just trying to be pretty hopeful for what we're getting, but I'm also going to be realistic about what I'm looking at. There's nothing wrong about reacting to new Sea of Thieves news as a Sea of Thieves channel. And obviously, you clicked on this live stream, so you must be interested in this. So, or you just hopped in here to kind of be a downer and kind of be annoying to people that are interested in breaking this down and reacting to the news. So I don't really know what your issue is, but there's lots to gather from this trailer. Even though it's just all CGI, we can take a lot from it, which we've already kind of gone over. Wizard said if it wasn't for the fans, it would not come out. Updates are for the fans, and they used Xbox Showcase to put it out there like every other game. Yeah. Now, I mentioned it earlier. I feel like the trailer that we got here was a little bit of an odd one, because what is the Xbox Game Showcase really meant for? It's meant to, the trailer that Sea of Thieves is putting there is to bring new players or players that stopped playing Sea of Thieves back into the game. It wasn't really meant for like us players that have been playing for a long time. Obviously, we're going to gather a lot from this, but it's really designed as a marketing tool to get more people into the game. Which is why I was saying earlier it might have made more sense to have some kind of like event to have happen, maybe like not this week, but maybe like the week after, that they could market as kind of like a story event for the game with like Flameheart and stuff. Could just be like a new limited time voyage or something, but just something that could be easy to say like, hey, this is on Game Pass, go check it out, it's available next week or something. And if they didn't want to announce it this soon, but to Dave's point, this was all in Rare in terms of what they wanted to show. If Xbox wanted a trailer, they said, to Rare, okay, you have, a minute 44 to show something off in the Xbox Showcase today. We want you to show something off for the game because it's a good showcase of what's on Game Pass. Rare says, okay, well, I guess we'll show off whereas for Season 17. That's what they went for with this, but they could have done something else. They could have shown off, what's coming for the rest of Season 16. They could have showed off a new event for Season 16. They could have even shown like a little packed mini thing preview of like what's going to be out for the rest of the year for Sea of Thieves, like kind of like a compilation of like here's what to expect for the rest of 2025 for Sea of Thieves, and it just kind of shows like a little bit of the Smuggler's Side update with season 17 and a little bit of season 18. That's kind of my thoughts with that. Dave said the whole Xbox showcase is more about sales. Xbox is holding Rare back in a sense. Same with the whole Battle.net thing. This was about sales. I mean, Battle.net thing, yeah, that was just a Microsoft push to get, you know, more money. But yeah, obviously Microsoft wanted something to show off for Sea of Thieves, but that's kind of like when your boss comes in and says like, "Hey, what are you working on? We want to, tell like whoever like what's going on with you." That's kind of like what this is. The Xbox showcase is kind of meant to have everyone be able to see like what are Xbox's developers working on, and we're able to judge what Sea of Thieves is working on here. I don't really know if how you'd say Xbox is holding Rare back. I feel like without Xbox, Sea of Thieves just would not exist. I don't think Sea of Thieves was profitable enough when it first started, because a lot of us want to forget Sea of Thieves was not a success when it first released. I loved the game when it first came out. I was a day one player. I know some of you probably in the chat probably are, but most other studios, if they didn't have the backing of Microsoft and Xbox, would have moved on to another project. But with the backing of Xbox, Rare was able to continue working on Sea of Thieves and make it into the game that we all either love to critique or love to enjoy still to this day. So I also would say I feel like Rare is just having some issues with management in the background. I don't even think it's Xbox fault, because Everwild wasn't even shown off, I don't think, in the showcase today. And that's been something that's been developed for years now by Rare. That's like supposed to be their next big title. We've seen obviously lots of issues with some of the Sea of Thieves seasons over the last several years. So this feels like more of a management issue on the Rare side of things, and not Xbox saying, "Hey, can we put a trailer out to show off your game?" If anything, that should be something that Rare is wanting. You want to be able to show off your game to get more players in. Super Dad said, "How would Xbox be holding Rare back? I'm new to the game." Yeah, basically the same question I have. I don't think they are. The only thing that you could say that in terms of like Xbox coming in and kind of getting nosy with Rare is in terms of new platform releases. So we talked about the Battle.net one was just recently, and then PlayStation. Those are two things that were coming from Xbox, Microsoft corporate coming down to Rare. But those aren't really that big of deals in my mind either. I mean, that's more just like, hey, you have permission now to go and put your game on more platforms so that it's more popular now and we can keep it going for longer. That's actually a good thing for the game. That's pushing the game forward. If a bad thing, and a thing that would give more credit to what you said, is if Xbox said, okay, you have to keep Sea of Thieves exclusive. It cannot be on any other platform because we need to keep this exclusive so that people have some reason to come back to the Xbox platform. That's what it was for a long time, but now Xbox is pushing it to other platforms to try to be more open, be a little bit more third-party like, and that's good for Sea of Thieves. More players is a good thing. Let's see what else we got. Wizard said, if anything, Xbox gave Sea of Thieves the push it needed. The game almost died when it came out. Yep, same thing that I was saying. Dave said they hold Rare back in terms of that we don't get any meaningful content. Yeah, that's not Microsoft or Xbox. Trust me, I bet you Xbox wants a win. They want something that they can say, hey, look at this amazing thing. They want another Pirate's Life. They want another Pirates of the Caribbean where they can show off at an Xbox showcase and say, hey, look at this really cool collaboration we're doing. It's coming out next week or 2 weeks or whatever it was back then. I really don't think it's... I don't want to defend the $1 trillion company or whatever, often, but this is not Xbox or Microsoft's fault. This is management from Rare's side and planning. Xbox and Microsoft aren't coming and saying, hey, y'all should do a Smuggler's Tides update where you have a new faction where, you have bigger gunpowder kegs. That's not what Xbox is doing. They're not, that's just not how it works for it. Rare is the ones that are deciding what things are they making updates for. The only thing that I'd say that Xbox probably mandated is they probably wanted the season system. That's probably the only other thing that you could say, and that's probably because it's was the trendy thing with live service games. But we don't know. Without any official confirmation, that could have just been Sea of Thieves also wanting to get into that because I think it's easier for them than doing the monthly updates. Super Dad said, I wish I started playing sooner. On day 3000. Hey, anytime you get into the game is a good time to get in. Honestly, you know, it's a little overhyped being from the very beginning. Now that you're in the game, you have so much that you can do, and you're not like someone like me that's kind of waiting for Rare to release new content because you've kind of done everything already. You have tons of stuff that you can still try out. So I wouldn't feel too bad about not playing sooner. Anytime to get in is always a good time to get in. Dave said, okay, right, Battle.net hold them back from making content. The game did not need Battle.net. Be real, Xbox will give Rare a sales target they have to hit. You're just wrong on this. One, Battle.net, yes, Battle.net is not the same thing as the PlayStation release. PlayStation required a lot more development work, and we talked about that when that happened. That's why we got updates like Season 11 and Season 10, which were lackluster updates, but they were meant to prepare for new players coming in with the PlayStation release. That's why we got Safer Seas in that release. That's why they changed the whole Voyage system, all leading up to the PlayStation release. The Battle.net release is not the same because the Battle.net release is basically just doing the same thing that they did with Steam and the Windows version of the game. It's just putting it on another store to buy from. It's really not that big of a deal, in all honesty. The PlayStation one you'd have more credence to, but the Battle.net one, it's literally just making it available on another store to buy from. I don't think it needed to be on Battle.net, so I'm not, disagreeing with that. I'm just saying it's, in terms of development time, it's not an issue. Dave said, no, but Battle.net is PC and 90% of players have Steam. Yeah, that's what I just said. I don't think it needed to be on Battle.net. The PC version of the game was already made. It was made from the very beginning, and then they already had it ready for when it went to Steam. So all the development work and stuff for putting it onto another store was already done. They could do the same thing with the Epic Game Store. They could put Sea of Thieves on the Epic Game Store, and it would not take much development work at all to make that work. Wizard said, well, any parent company or boss has to give anyone a sales target. It's how things work. Shouldn't Sea of Thieves be profitable at this point? I mean, look how much they're charging for Pirate Emporium cosmetics and all that stuff. Like, sales targets, I mean, I don't really understand kind of the argument here, to be honest. It's like saying that Xbox should just give them money and then not expect them to be successful. A lot of the critiques that we have about Sea of Thieves come to what Sea of Thieves is doing. The only thing that I think is not all Sea of Thieves' fault is when we talk about, say, Season 9, 10, and 11. Those 3 seasons, in retrospect, were in preparation for the PlayStation release and the new players that were coming into the game. Those 3 seasons were needed to make the game easier for new players, but they were very lackluster and not that great updates for players that have been playing for a long time. But other than that, I don't really think there's any argument for, like, say, this update, which is what we talked about. This is what started the whole conversation for anyone that's joining in a little bit later, is that Xbox is holding back this update year. Some Smuggler's Tide Season 17. Xbox isn't coming in here and saying that they need to make a new faction that's, with gunpowder kegs and armory crates or whatever we're getting with this. So I don't really get the argument here, to be honest. That's just my thoughts on it. So that covers my general thoughts on, is Xbox holding Sea of Thieves back? I really don't think Xbox is holding Sea of Thieves back, except for with exception to the PlayStation release, because we had to have those season updates in preparation for that release. That's the most that I think you could say in terms of Microsoft and Xbox holding the game back. But everything else, it's all on Rare in terms of what content they choose to spend time working on. They're the ones that are choosing to make a Reaper voyage that is PvP specific, but it's kind of like a PvE Reaper type voyage. They're the ones that are choosing to reskin Megalodons instead of a new sea monster for Season 15. They're the ones that are choosing to do this new Smugglers faction with new gunpowder kegs for Season 17. All of these planning decisions come from Rare. This isn't Xbox and corporate level saying to do these type of updates. Sea of Thieves and Rare are the ones that are choosing what updates they do. But I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts in the comments below on this topic. Do you agree with me, or do you think that Xbox is holding the game back? I think you wouldn't have Sea of Thieves without Xbox, so I think that needs to be credited to them to some extent. But have things changed since then? Is Xbox now a hindrance to the game instead of the thing that was keeping it alive? I'd love to hear all y'all's thoughts on this topic down in the comments, but if you enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you like and subscribed. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.